everyone, myself Madhvi Gaur. Today I am going to discuss about the concept of structure. Let's start with a topic introduction. A structure is a collection of heterogeneous data members or a set of data members of different data types. Just in contrast with arrays, arrays is a collection of homogeneous data elements. Okay, whereas structure is a collection of heterogeneous data members. That this data type may or may not be of the same type. For example, a structure can contain same type of data members as well as different type of data members also. Okay, for example, if I want to store the details about a student, then there will be a collection of different data type. For example, it can store a name of a student, it can store the average marks, it can store the roll number, and many other attributes also. Okay, so it means structure is a collection of heterogeneous data members in which it can hold a string or a character data type, or a float, or a int data type. A string is basically a sequence of character in which it will hold as a sequence of data members. It means arrays. Okay. Similarly, if we want to store the details about 3 students, then there can be 2 approaches through which we can solve this problem. The first one is we can construct individual arrays for student for holding the details of 3 students, one for storing the names, another for average marks, and another for storing the roll number. Okay, it means this problem can also be solved with the help of arrays, but we have to maintain separate arrays for these data members. Okay, the another problem or another solution for this problem is we can use the concept of structure. In the next subsequent slide, we will see how we can declare a structure. Let us say the general syntax of structure can be thought of like this. General syntax for declaring a structure will be, first of all, we have to use the struct keyword. Just like there are 32 reserved word or keywords in the C language, struct is one of them. Okay, then we can use struct, structure name, which you want to create or which you want to give, structure name. As the definition told us that a structure is a collection of heterogeneous data members, it means there will be a collection of data members. Let us say data type 1. We can give any variable name, variable 1, or we can give variable name also. Data type 2, variable 2, and so on. This syntax should be enclosed by the closing parenthesis followed by semicolon at the end. If we do not include this semicolon at the end, then the declaration of the structure will not be completed. So we have to include semicolon at the end just to conclude that now the structure declaration has been done. So this is the general syntax for declaring a structure. Let us see an example. Let us say if I want to declare a structure for storing the details of a student, then we will define the structure as struct student. The data members will be, we can include name. As we know, in a name, there will be a sequence of character, then it will be thought of as a array. Let us say float for storing the marks. There can be more than one data member corresponding to it. Then int roll number. and so on. So this is the declaration of a structure. The most important point to be noted here is this. If I want to access the data members of this structure, then there is a need of declaring a structure variable also. It can be done in two ways. I'll show you in the another slide that how we declare a structure variable and how do we access the structure through that data, which will be a part of structure now. Okay, let's go on to the next slide, which is initialization of a structure. Let us see struct. I'll consider the previous example. Struct student. The data member will be same, just like in the previous slide. Char name 20, which can hold up to 20 characters. Then int roll number. Then float marks. So if I want to declare a structure data member, it can be done in two ways. First one is before including the semicolon or before terminating the declaration of this structure, I have to give a name. Let us say B. It means now this B has the property of this structure student. It means now B can access name, B can access roll number, and B can also access marks. But without this B, we cannot access the data members of a structure student. To all other data members, to all other variable, it will be invisible. So, accessing the data members of a structure, first we have to create a structure variable. This is the format through which we can create a structure variable. And the another way is this. This can be done in two ways. Struct student, then char. Then after including the semicolon at the end, now we have stopped the declaration of the student. Now I want to create a variable of a struct student for accessing these data members. Then I'll write down struct student B. Now this B can access name, roll number, and marks. So this is the procedure for declaring a structure variable. Okay. If I want to initialize the value to these data members, then I cannot assign like this. Int roll number is equals to 20. We cannot initialize the data members of a structure like this. If I want to do it, then we have to do it manually, like struct student B is equals to, let us say, name is Ram, roll number is 20, and marks are 54. So we can initialize the data members of a structure at compile time like this. So now we have fixed the data member value of B as Ram, 20 and 54. And it can be done in a sequential way. It means the name value is Ram, roll number value is 20, and marks value is 54. Okay. For accessing the data members of a structure, we have to remember these two important points. First of all, we have to create structure variable. This is the first important point. We have to create a structure variable. Second point, we have to use dot operator. We have to use dot operator for accessing the data members of a structure. For accessing the data members of a structure. Unlike the array, there is no concept of dot operator. But for a structure, if I want to assign or I want to access the data members of a structure defined in that body, then we have to first create a structure variable. And the second important point is to use the dot operator for accessing the data members of a structure. Okay. Let us say if I want to assign or initialize the value of roll number, then I can write down like this. B dot roll number is equals to 20. B dot marks is equals to 75.8, like this. So this is the structure variable and this is the dot operator through which we are accessing the data members of a structure, and here we are initializing the value of it. Now let us see an example to clearly understand this concept of a structure. Let us consider this example where I have created a structure for storing the record of 3 students. Okay. So here I have declared a structure which is a global declaration. I can also declare this structure inside the main body. Then it will be a local declaration. But now here in this example, it is a global declaration where I have created a variable for storing the average marks, for storing the roll number, and for storing a name. In this example here, I have created 3 structure variables for storing the record for 3 students. If I want to do it for a student, then I will create only a single variable. Okay. But in this example, I want to store the record for 3 students. Then I have given a message, enter the details of 3 students. Then here, like the previously explained, then how can we give the input of a student? Then here I am doing it with B1 dot name, B1 dot average marks, B1 dot roll number. Similarly, for taking the input for the second student, I am doing the same thing for B2 variable. Similarly for B3 students. After taking the input from user at the console, now I want to display all these values. Then I have given a message, the details of the students are, then we can print all these values on the console like B1 dot name, B1 dot average marks, and B1 dot roll number. Similarly for B2 student and similarly for B3 student. So in this example, I have created 3 structure variables. B1 is taking the input and displaying the output for first student, B2 is for second student, and B3 is for third student. Now, let us run this program. First, we will build and compile this program. This is our output screen. So, as defined in the example, first of all, we are getting the message, enter details of 3 students. So, I want to give name for a first student. Let us say average marks will be, roll number is 12. Now we are giving the input for second student. It will be for third student. After pressing enter, now we are getting the message as the details of the students are, these are the output. For B1, it has shows this message. For B2, it has shown this. And for B3, it has shown this. This is the output on the console and this is the input on the console. Okay. Okay. There are some also additional features corresponding to structure. These can be, I can note down here. He can assign one structure into another structure. He can assign one structure into another structure. But he cannot compare two structures directly. This is the important features associated with structure. That is, we can assign one structure into another structure directly, but we cannot compare two structures. What does this statement states? It means if I want to do, in spite of taking the input for B2 and B3, I want to do B2 is equals to B1. It means the value of the structure data member B1 is directly copied inside structure variable B2. Similarly, if I want to do B3 is equals to B1, it means the value of the data members of a structure B1 has been assigned to B3 also. Okay. Now I want to display all these values. Let's save it. And now I want to run it. In this, as per this program, I will give the input only for B1 and B2 and B3 will automatically assign or take the value of B1 because we have copied one structure directly inside the another structure as per this feature. Okay, let's see. Let's run this program. Let's first student details are okay. Now as per the program, now the value of B1 should be assigned to B2 and B3. Then same value should be displayed for all the students. You can see in this example, Ram and Ram, it has been assigned to B2 and B3. All the values has been assigned to B2 and B3. Okay. So this was all about structure. This is the reference which I have taken into consideration while studying this concept. This is the disclaimer. Okay, thank you everyone. I'll try to do the same lecture on structure with array in the next my video, in my next video. Okay, thank you so much.